The Maple Leafs lose to the Rangers, but have a chance to get back in the win column tonight against the Lightning. And what's the status of Chris Tanev? Leafs Nation wants to know. You're listening to the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.
You're Locked On Maple Leafs, your daily podcast on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome into the Locked On Leafs podcast, a daily Maple Leafs-centric podcast hosted by myself, Mike DiStefano, and my co-host, Dave Morasutti. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and you'll get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you get started. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. What's happening, Dave? How are you feeling on a Monday?
Feeling good. Weather is still nice, enjoying some nice weather, but talking about another loss.
Well, we are talking about another loss, I guess. That's you're going right down into the depths.
Yeah, we're going
sad about it. Like what? just want to dig right into it, Dave.
Let's dig right into it, man.
All right, Maple Leafs fall to the Rangers 4-1 over the weekend. Their first loss on home ice this season. Not necessarily a score. I think that was indicative of how the game was played. It was pretty close up until, a couple final empty netters. But what did you make of the game, Dave?
I didn't hate the Leafs' effort. When I look at the way they play from start to finish, yeah, there were some little mistakes, but I thought they were the better team when you look at both on, through the eye test and with the stats. Like, they had a majority of the better chances throughout the game. They definitely tested Igor Shesterkin a lot. Just its bounces and stuff didn't go their way in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you. I thought that Toronto was arguably the better team, and that's a really good New York Rangers squad, and that's a hell of a world-class goaltender, man. That guy is going to get paid a lot of money. It makes sense why he's holding out, because boy, can he make a big difference. I thought it was probably the best game of the year from Auston Matthews to this point in the season. Thought that he was pretty dominant. Ended up with 9 shots on 15 shot attempts. Scored the Leafs' lone goal, and I thought that line as a whole was really dangerous. Him, Matthew Nyes, and Mitch Marner. I thought all three of them were great at points tonight. Saturday night. 12-5 was the shot share when they were on the ice, and I was taking a look at Matthews too, like the underlying numbers. He had 11 individual scoring chances himself on his 15 shot attempts. Like, he was just getting in the right areas and getting opportunities. And then the goal he scored was great. Like, that was just if we end up getting into the right away, the good, the bad, the ugly, like the good, like that was just a good, solid power forward goal. And that's something that Auston Matthews can do on a whim. Like, go win a puck battle and then take it hard to the front of the net and score. That's just a power move by a big dude. It's good to see. I thought he had a terrific game. I was really impressed, and it's nice to see Auston Matthews revving up. That's back-to-back games with a goal now for him.
Yeah, it was. And even Matthew Nyes, like, there was one play in the game where it looked like he was going to do a nasty toe drag, and he just didn't have enough room and just missed the shot on Shesterkin. Like, that was something, and I think he talked about after the game, just being more pronounced and getting more of those opportunities in front of the net, right? That's how you try to beat a goalie like Shesterkin, right? Try to get into his grill, try to make it a little bit tougher on him. I think the Leafs did that. Like, you look at this game, they had the advantage in slot shots on that. Slot driving plays, they were, they led out of both teams. So, like, they made it a point to get to the dirty areas. Like, this wasn't a situation where they weren't. It's just Shesterkin made just some unreal saves, and
he doesn't allow like those second, third opportunities either, right? Like, that's the one thing where like elite goaltenders don't give up those second, third chances, right? Those rebounds don't go out into the slot. If they're giving out rebounds, they're directing them into the corner. Like, it's not, they're not giving up those juicy, pass off the pad type rebounds, a chance for you to just deposit it right away. He's either swallowing it up, there's nothing for you to go after, or he's putting it in the corner. So yeah, like that's again quality goalie, man. Like he's a good goaltender. I thought Anthony Stolarz played well too. Like Stolarz, it was his third straight games, first time in his career he's played three. He started 3 games in a row, and I would say it's not like fatigue has crept into his game or anything. Thought that he was solid. He only allowed 2 goals, and I only one of them I think were at 5-on-5. Like, because the other one was 6-on-5 with the
Yeah.
delayed penalty. So only 1 goal at 5-on-5. Like as a team, Dave, the Leafs have only allowed 5 goals at 5-on-5 this year. Like they've been very stingy and very good. And they were again, the other night against the Rangers, but unfortunately they couldn't find the back of the net too often. Igor Shesterkin just being his dominant Russian self as he typically is. The other, I think, thing that came out of the game, I guess, is probably, everyone's wondering what the status of Chris Tanev is. Took a block shot in the second period, didn't play the rest of the period. He went down into the tunnel, did come out in the third period, played a few shifts, but not a lot. Didn't play a lot, not as much as you would think. But as we currently record, the Leafs are doing, and this is one of the benefits of recording a little later on a Monday morning as opposed to Sunday night. Tanev is on the ice for morning skate, so it sounds like he's good to go and he will play tonight. Which thank God, because that was like this team without Tanev just feels like there's such a black hole on the blue line, like just that would just be staring at you. But looks like he is A-okay, which is great news for the Maple Leafs. But yeah, missing a little bit of time there in the third period, or in the second period, and then I think he only played like 4 shifts, I think it was, and none in the last like 10 minutes. Looks like he's going to be good to go for tonight, though.
Yeah, and that you were holding your breath when you heard that he was leaving, right, going to the locker room, but then they showed him skating back, which was coming back on the bench, which is very positive. It's also just it also just reminds you just how you always have to kind of hold your breath when he gets injured because of his past, but just he's not going to let he is going to have to need like a broken bone.
Yeah,
like something severe.
Even that doesn't
take him off the ice.
Even if he breaks like a finger, like that's not gonna take him off the ice. He's like, yeah, he's a tough SOB, man. Tanev is a tough SOB. Like I saw what I see. There was a stat I was reading. Jonas Siegel's piece in the Athletic this morning. He's got 15 block shots through 5 games, which puts him on pace for 250 block shots on the season, which would surpass Carl Gunnarsson's all-time single-season record. Do you know what that record is, Dave?
I actually don't know what that record is.
So 250 would be a new record, right? Okay. What do you think the current record is for block shots in a season?
Current record block shots, maybe like 230,
176. So
really, wow.
I mean, there haven't been a lot of puck-eating, minute-munching defensemen on the Maple Leafs, brother.
Wow.
Yeah, so not a high bar to pass, but he's on pace for 250, which would crush that record. So we'll see. But that's kind of the catch-22 with a player and a warrior like that, right? Like a guy who you want to go out there, put his body on the line, block shots like that, eat pucks for a living. But the problem with that is it opens it up for injury, right? And you just hope that these stingers and such don't pile up and throughout the course of the season that hopefully doesn't cause him or make him miss any time. Couple shifts, I guess, here and there you'll live with, but any extended time off for Tanev would not be bueno for the Maple Leafs.
No, not really. And I was actually looking to see who had it's crazy. Like I was looking at who has the all-time record. I forgot about Chris Russell. That dude ate a lot of pucks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That guy.
283 is the most block shots in a single season in the NHL all time. Like that's a lot of rubber.
Yeah. That hurts. That hurts. That has to sting for sure. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll get into the good, the bad, the ugly from the loss to the Rangers, and then we'll turn the page and we'll look forward to tonight. Leafs Lightning on Amazon Prime, the one and only game. All eyes on Leafs Lightning tonight. So we'll tee that up in a bit. The good, the bad, the ugly coming up next here on the Locked On Leafs podcast.
Today's episode is brought to you by Indeed. We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching hiring platform with over 350 million monthly global visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. So join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. So just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Welcome back into the Locked On at Leafs podcast. I'm Mike DiStefano with Dave Morasutti. We are your hosts here on the Locked On Leafs show, which is available for free wherever you get a podcast, audio-wise for you on-the-go listeners. And if you're watching via video, you can find us up on YouTube. We've got new content, new episodes coming out each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. So that's 5 brand new episodes talking all things Leafs all week long, all year long on the Locked On Leafs podcast. All right. So the Maple Leafs falling 4-1 to the New York Rangers. It was their first loss on home ice. Tough. Breaks their 3-game winning streak. It's okay. We got a chance to get back at it tonight, but we'll put a little bow on Rangers Leafs with the good, the bad, the ugly from the game, as we do after each and every loss. Dave, what did you like about this game?
I look at just the opportunities that the team had in this game. We talked about the top line being so good, but I thought the 5-on-5 play was excellent. Like they dominated in a lot of areas you want to see this team dominate. The results, they weren't there. They weren't able to get those goals to go through. But I thought if you play that game a few times over, maybe a different result happens. I think it's one of those where you credit the effort. Unfortunately, the result didn't go your way.
Let me go see what the deserve to win-o-meter was on moneypuck.com, because that's always hilarious. The deserve to win-o-meter. So basically, they'll just do like 1,000 simulations of the game, and it'll give you a percentage of how many times the Maple Leafs should win that game. And after 1,000 simulations, the Maple Leafs deserve to win-o-meter 63.3%. So 63% of the time, if they play that game the exact same way, the Maple Leafs should win that game. And they didn't. In fact, the score was optically quite lopsided at 4-1. Obviously, a couple empty netters made it seem a little bit bigger than it really was. But yeah, I thought the Maple Leafs had a good game. And, I talked about it earlier, but I thought Matthews was incredible. I thought that he was, right into it from the get-go. I thought that he was controlling play for the entire game, and season high 9 shots, 15 shot attempts, like 11 individual scoring chances. Like it's unbelievable. I think 8 of them were high danger chances as well. He was great. He was fantastic. And that goal that he scored, it's just a goal scorer's goal, man. Like when you're a big dude, 6'4", 220 pounds, like you can win those battles in behind the net and then just take the puck right to the net and make a power move and score like that. Dude, you're gonna score a lot of goals, right? That's what he has the capability of doing each and every night. So it was really nice to see him, kind of break through with a big game like that. We had talked about how we've been waiting for like the MVP Matthews to arrive this season, where he took control of a game. Now, again, the stats weren't there, like They only scored 1 goal. He scored it. It's not like it was a 3-goal night and, everything was kumbaya, but it optically looked good, right? What it
Yeah.
just looked like the old MVP level Austin Matthews in that game, the way that he was kind of taking control. So that was good to see, and gonna need to see that again as we move forward into tonight's matchup against the Lightning. We'll get to that in a sec. The bad though, Dave. What was bad about this game?
The power play.
Yeah,
Like,
I got that too.
as good as the 5-on-5 play was, the power play remains a problem.
How is it so bad? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, you got super uber talented players like Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares. Like, Ulrich Larson has proven to be a pretty good offensive defenseman throughout his career. Like, why is this thing so bad? 2 for 16 on the year, and again, 0 for 3. And at times, it just like they can't even get set up. It's not even like they're scoring. It's not that like it just the goals aren't dropping. They're just not even able to get into the zone and set up this power play. I don't even know what it's supposed to look like because they can't. It's just
Well, that's
not
it, right?
being executed.
Like, if they're not able to win the faceoff and get set up, they can't set it up. Like, they can't get into the zone clean. They can't once they get it. Like, teams have figured out how to get around the setup, right? Because the Leafs, as soon as they get into the zone, it's a pass to the left. The guy who's on the board,
Dude, they can't even get in through the neutral zone,
Yeah.
though. That's the problem. Like, they're getting stopped at the neutral zone all the time. They have to circle back and reload, and they try the same thing. It's like, dog, when it hasn't worked 3 times in a row, what the hell are you doing it for? Someone just take the puck and go. Just go. Like, it's just the first power play goal they scored on the year. That's what happened. They tried to reload nonsense 3 times, drop back to the defenseman. Matthews comes up with speed, blah, blah, blah. And then after getting denied 3 times, Matthews said, frig it. I'm just going to take it up ice through the neutral zone myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then they ended up scoring a goal like a couple seconds later. It's like,
that's
look
what
at
it
that.
takes. That's what it takes. The guys have to take ownership and just it's part of it. I wouldn't say effort, pace. What we always talked about when they had the struggles last year, they need to move it with more pace. They got to get the penalty killers moving a bit more. Like, it's too stationary.
Yeah.
Right? You have to get moving on the power play.
I don't know why this is too. Again, it's not. I didn't play at any significant level, so like, I don't know. Maybe there's a reason for it, but like for me, when you've got guys as talented as they are on the power play, sometimes it's nice just to play a little loose, right? Less scripted. It seems like that power play is just super scripted. Like they're trying to make plays that they've practiced as opposed to just taking what's given to them. Like that's what it just feels that way. And everyone knows the script so that it's easy to stop at this point, right? They got to go off script. Just let them play, let them circle the puck, let them cycle, let them, cross the crease, play a little east-west on the power play, and let the skill shine through. Ultimately, that's what I want to see from this unit because it's been atrocious all season long.
It has, and I just don't know. Like, I think you can change his guy Morgan Riley off the power play as much as you want. It comes down to more than that. It always has. It's and again, it's a lot of it has to do with not being predictable. And it's the other problem too is, back in the day, we always talked about, if you want to stop the Caps power play, you got to get on Ovechkin. Well, guess what?
Couldn't do.
Yeah, most of the time it did. But guess what? The Capitals would find a way to change things up. And guess what? It would still go to Ovechkin, but it wasn't in the way that you would come to expect it. You have to adjust when other teams know your game plan.
Yeah. And like part of it too is like to your point, you like get the feet moving. Like Matthews is most dangerous when he's kind of weaving in and out of traffic and like finding a little bit of empty space for him to get those shots off. So he's got to do a little bit more of that on the power play as well and find himself open and create those spaces. Don't always be like just they can't always be set plays. Like just sometimes just kind of wing it. You're good, talented, smart players. You can wing it and probably have some success. All right. The ugly, Dave. What was the ugly for you?
As much as this team did a good job of getting pucks on the net on Shesterkin, the fact that Max Domi thought he could channel his inner Mitch Marner and give up a chance to get an Igor Shesterkin and almost giving you a half open net and deciding to pass it instead of shoot it. I don't know, man. Like that to me was the game-changing play because he doesn't score. The Rangers get the puck, go down the ice, and eventually it ends up in the back of your net. It like to me that was a turning point in that game because the Leafs were down 1-0. That play would have likely have tied the game. Instead, you found yourself trailing 2-0. Guess what? The Rangers get a 2-0 lead with an Igor Shesterkin in net. They're feeling pretty good about their ability to win that game. And to me, that was such a missed opportunity. It was I was watching with some buddies and watching that play. We're just like did he miss this? Did he mess up? Like what happened there? Like to me, that was just so ugly. You can't. Like Craig Berube kept talking about not being too cute, shooting it, playing it simple. That's as simple as it gets.
Yep. I would say it's like don't be cute, just shoot. Like that's the mantra that it feels like the Maple Leafs have been playing with this year. Everyone except Max Domi, evidently. There's been a few times where Domi's given up the puck where it's like the whole building's yelling shoot, and he's like, no, it's all good. We're gonna pass and we're gonna try and make a play. Yeah, not good. He's gotta shoot a little more. I mean, this is a guy too who's like he only scored 9 goals last year. Well, this is why, Max. You're not taking your opportunities when they're given to you. You got to shoot when you have the opportunity to score here. I'm sure the coaching staff is, getting in his head afterwards. He's like, take those opportunities. Because Marner was the same way at points in his career. And then eventually it was like, he started to actually shoot the puck a little bit. Hopefully that the goals start to come. Just got to shoot first for that to happen. Mine was just like Tanev leaving the game. Like that, is an ugly scene to see Tanev have to leave the game after a blocked shot. Did return, right? But still not fun to see. Apparently Berube said that he could have played more after the game, but because they needed a goal being down to 2-0 and then 2-1, they I guess decided that they were just gonna roll some offensively minded defensemen out there a little more. So I guess that was the more of the reasoning as opposed to an injury as to why Tanev did not see a lot of ice time in the third period. That said, we've talked incessantly about Tanev's ability to break the puck out and how he's got a terrific first pass and can jumpstart some offense. So I don't know how much I really read into that, but he is on the ice currently for Leafs morning skate. So does appear that he should be fine and will be good to go to play tonight against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Why don't we take a break? We'll come back and we'll preview tonight's game, Leafs and Lightning, on Amazon Prime. I've got a bone to pick about that. We'll do it next here on the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Hey, NHL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. It's North America's #1 sports book. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bet. So get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. My best bet for tonight's Leafs and Lightning game on FanDuel, I like Austin Matthews, 4+ shots. 4+ shots for Austin Matthews tonight. Guy's been a shooting machine. He had 9 shots the other night. He's averaging 5.6 shots per game, leads the league with 28 through 5. The guy's just a shooting machine. I expect for that to continue tonight. You can find that wager over on FanDuel.com. Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. Mike DiStefano, Dave Morasutti with you. All eyes on Leafs Lightning tonight. It's the only game on the slate. And if you don't have an Amazon Prime subscription, You can't watch this game? Is that what I'm led to believe here, Dave?
Yeah, I don't. I didn't watch the other Amazon Prime game, but yeah, it doesn't look like you'll. I don't know if it's like like the NFL made the Amazon Prime Thursday night game, but in Canada you can still watch it because that's just an American thing. But yeah, it looks like if you want to watch tonight's Leaf game, you can't just go to your Sportsnet and watch it. You actually have to have a subscription to it.
Let me see if if what it says, because usually like the score will have like where the game is being broadcasted on. I don't even see, it doesn't even say anything. Because usually it'll say like, yeah, like TSN or Sportsnet or whatever, but it doesn't say anything. Oh, actually it does. It Prime. It's on Prime. Okay. Yeah, like I don't know if it's gonna be able to, but it's just just like a rant quickly about like just another subscription service that people need to buy in order to watch these games. Like it's insane. Like if you're like a major sports fan, you have to have, Apple TV or YouTube TV to watch some baseball games. You have to have, DAZN to be able to watch football games. You have to now have apparently Amazon Prime along with your TSN, along with your Sportsnet subscription packages to get all of these Leafs games. Like it is insane what's going on in the world today, just as a side rant about how much money consumers have to pay just to watch these guys play. Like it used to just be on basic cable. You could watch it on your TV and now it's all subscription based. You got to pay, you know, everybody in the world money in order to consume and watch these games. It's lunacy. I'm so fed up and so upset about it. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing I can do. They're not going to change it, unfortunately. But I'd imagine a lot of people are kind of upset about this stuff.
Yeah, I do know that there is a free trial. So if you want to watch the game and you want to sign up for a free trial,
All right.
go
Well,
for
what
it.
about probably a 30-day free trial, and then what happens
But
in January?
Here's the thing. This is one of I think 6 Leaf games that are going to be on Amazon Prime this year.
Exactly. And I'd imagine
Yeah.
that this all 6 games will not be in the next month. I'd imagine.
No. So
No.
one thing I will say, I mean, for myself, I know it's not feasible for everyone. Like I've always had an Amazon Prime subscription because I use Amazon for a lot of things. I'm one of those people. So it's a great value that you already have that. But yeah, it is very much it's tough because would need an Amazon Prime subscription for this. If you want to watch, I'm a guy who likes watching my Italian soccer. You have to have a Fubo subscription to watch that. You want to watch a lot of other stuff, you'll need Sportsnet TSN. It's unfortunate, but yeah, I mean, with people cutting cutting cable package, I hear a lot of people say, I don't even pay for cable anymore. Well, now you got to find ways to get.
That's the thing. It's like I don't pay.
Things.
Yeah, like you cut the cord, you don't pay for cable. All right, but you probably pay for 5 different subscription packages, which totals more than what your cable bill used to be. I'd
Yep.
imagine. Like that's the funny part about it.
Hey, my friend's got a Amazon Prime account. I'll just use his. Some of these streaming platforms are finding ways now to cracking down on it.
Yeah. Yeah, that used to be the best. Like somebody used to have like one person had a Netflix account and like the entire high school used that one Netflix account. Like I remember that being the case back in the day. Even DAZN when it first came out. And now it's like, nope, can only use it on 2 devices at a time. It's like, oh God. So annoying. But anyways, rant over. Let's actually get into tonight's game. Leafs getting set for morning skate as we are recording. And it looks as though Anthony Stolarz is going to be the projected starter tonight. He was in the starters crease when they were skating out there today. So it looks like Stolarz will get his 4th straight start for the first time in his career, which means no Joseph Woll tonight again. Possibly, I guess, could be tomorrow. Like it's a back-to-back. Could they be gearing up for Joseph Woll tomorrow instead?
Well, I mean, the best indication will be, does Hildeby stay up another, right?
Yeah.
Does he stay up, or is this where you finally see Woll come back. Like the fact that Woll was at practice last week and he was taking shots and did the whole practice leads me to believe that he's likely going to be able to play.
Would you, if Woll's ready to play tomorrow, right? And that's the plan, to go Stolarz tonight, Woll tomorrow. Would you even dress him as your backup for tonight's game, or would you let it be Hildeby and then just activate Woll tomorrow and he can go through a starter's routine and be good?
Yeah, that's what I would do. Like, what's the point of dressing Woll as a backup? There would be no they've done that. They used to do that a lot when they had the 3 goalies last year, where Jones would be the backup and whoever was the guy playing the back-to-back wouldn't even dress. It makes so much sense because now they get just a full night off.
Yes. Yeah. Makes sense. Does make sense. So it's gonna be Stolarz again, and he's been great. He's been fantastic, and they'll have a very tough matchup tonight against the Tampa Bay Lightning. 3-1 on the year, so the Bolts picking up, where they've left off the last few years, playing some excellent hockey. Andrei Vasilveskiy has returned, by the way. He's heard all the noise, apparently, of everyone taking him out of the top 3, top 5 in goalie conversations, and I don't know why people were doing that over the summer, but they were. And he's like, "Excuse me, I'm still quite good." He's been unbelievable tonight. So the Leafs, after not being able to solve Shesterkin, will have an equally as tough test tonight against Andrei Vasilveskiy, Dave.
Yeah, again, if buddy of mine messaged me the other day, is like, "This is a really tough upcoming schedule for the Leafs." I said, "Yes, but it's so important now because we were talking about how they're off to 3-1 start, how good they've looked. Now you really get to see if they're good, right? Like they get the Lightning after the Ranger game. Like the Lightning have been good, right? I know they lost their last game, but they've been pretty good to start the year. I hadn't really looked at the Lightning schedule, see if it's been a easier schedule, maybe.
They had the Hurricanes, Vancouver, someone else, and then so it's been a decent sked. Like it's not, they haven't beaten. It hasn't been a cupcake schedule, I guess we'll say. They did have the one game canceled, postponed, that they're going to have to redo because of the hurricane. But outside of that, it's been a decent sked for them. They've been scoring though. Like that's Nikita Kucherov leads the NHL right now with 7 goals.
Yeah, him and Jake Guentzel have really looked good.
Yeah, they have. And, Stamkos is gone and allowed someone else to kind of step up and take over ownership of that team. And it looks like, Cooch is ready to do that. And I was looking back on because I was doing my best bet write up on covers.com for tonight's game. And I was seeing Kucherov last year absolutely bullied the Maple Leafs. He had 12 points in 4 games against the Leafs last year. 12 points in 4 games. So trying to contain him is obviously a difficult move, but that's, like we talk about keys to the game. Containing Kucherov has to be a key for tonight. And often you could do that by getting under his skin. Like when he starts playing on the line and on the edge a little bit, he could, from time to time, he's been known to throw a hissy fit, take a penalty. And with this penalty kill kind of struggling for Tampa Bay, they've given up 4 goals their last 3 games, just a 73% kill rate on the year. This could be a spot for Toronto to try and find its legs on the power play. So I would think that should also be, a key tonight. Try and get yourself on the man advantage as much as possible. Because Tampa has not been good defending on the PK so far this year.
Yeah, and I know you're throwing out the Kucherov stat. The good thing is that Ilya Samsonov's no longer on the team because a lot of those points and goals came against Ilya Samsonov. I don't know.
Very true.
It was not a good matchup for Samsonov, but yeah, if you're the Leafs, Kucherov has got to be your number 1 priority. I think you're going to see a lot of Chris Tanev against Kucherov tonight. That's going to be the matchup there.
In terms of lineup changes, I'm just seeing right now on Twitter, it appears that Ryan Reeves has stayed out a little extra late after Leafskate, which means he's likely going to be sitting out tonight. That's what that would suggest, which means Max Pacioretty, who was taking a couple of shifts on the second power play unit in practice today, likely to check back in. So Patches gets back in after a couple of nights up in the booth, and Ryan Reeves will get the night off. Other than that, doesn't appear like there's going to be any other lineup changes, which makes sense to me, I guess. Like,
Mhm.
there's not really anyone over on the other side, I suppose, that like Tanner Jeannot's not there anymore. Where you say, okay, got to have a tough guy in there. I think it makes sense to try and get Pacioretty back in, and yeah, Revo can take the night off.
Yeah, like you don't need Ryan Reeves in this game, and frankly, I think it'd be nice to get Pacioretty in. I don't think he was taken out really because he wasn't playing great. He wasn't, he wasn't playing amazing, but I think they wanted to keep Pontus Holmberg in the lineup. And I was even saying if Reeves were to somehow stay in, I think Pontus Holmberg would have been the one coming out
I
because
agree. I thought that was going to be the case, to be
yeah.
honest. I was a little surprised to see that it was going to be Reeves. I thought it'd be Holmberg too. Did you see the comments Berube had about
Oh yeah.
him? Yeah.
Yeah, he's got Holmberg in his crosshairs right now,
He-
unfortunately. And you know what? Kind of a good thing because we've always talked about with Pontus Holmberg, if you're not scoring, what are you doing, right? Like how are you contributing
Well,
to the
the
lineup?
the fact that he's turned into a decent penalty killer does help his
Yes.
case to stick in the lineup, and I'd imagine that's kind of the decider between Holmberg and Reeves. The fact that Holmberg much more valuable penalty killer than Reeves, and he can also play center, take some faceoffs. But here's what he had to say. Coach Berube had to say about Holmberg the other day. Said, to me, Holmberg's got to battle a little bit harder for pucks and hang on to the pucks a little bit more, like he was in training camp in the offensive zone. He looks just a little step behind right now. That's what Craig Berube had to say about old Pontus.
And he's looking frustrated, taking some bad penalties. Like
Yep.
a
Yep.
player is struggling a little bit when those sort of things are happening.
Was his penalty, if I'm not mistaken, where the game-winning goal effectively was scored on the delayed penalty call, right? It was his penalty that caused the 6-on-5. Yeah, so it looks like Holmberg is gonna get a chance to, work his way out of the doghouse tonight against the Lightning. Revo, the guy projected to come out with Pacioretty, slated to get back into the lineup in this game. All right, you got a prediction really quickly? How do you think tonight plays out?
Ooh, I'm seeing a high scoring game. It kind of
Mm.
feels like we're in for one of those.
So, funny enough, another bet that you could possibly place. Very high scoring first periods last season between these two. 14 goals were scored through 4 games in the first period last year.
Mhm.
Quick strike offenses. So, yes, I also am predicting a decent amount of a decently high scoring game tonight as well.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like one of those like 5-4 sort of games.
Yeah.
It just feels like that's what we're in for.
Yep, I think so too. Should be a good one though. It's always fun when the Leafs and Lightning go toe to toe. It's always a good battle between these two top teams. And hey, divisional game. It's an important 2 points, no matter if it's in November and March or late in April. 2 points is 2 points, and the Maple Leafs want to make sure that they lock those up, especially on home ice. All right, that'll do it for us here today on the podcast. I'd like to thank you all for listening and supporting the show. You could subscribe to the Locked On Leafs podcast on all platforms and receive daily Leafs content. Follow myself on X at Mickey_Canuck. Follow Dave at D_Morasutti, and follow the show as well at Locked On Leafs. We'll be back with another episode for you guys tomorrow. We will recap Leafs and Lightning tonight on Amazon Prime. We'll see how many of y'all can watch. If you can't, come back tomorrow. We will recap it all for you anyways. Until then, keep it locked right here on Locked On Leafs.